Listener discretion is advised.
Starting now.
Okay.
You are listening to Wine and Crime, the podcast where three friends chug wine, chat true crime, and unleash their worst Minnesotan accent.
Or German.
Or sometimes German accent.
You never know.
For
Gluten
Southern.
For no reason.
Gluten-free.
Gluten-free is the best.
So stupid.
I don't even remember how to say my name is in German. I literally just remember those little songs.
Oh,
Guten
cute.
Tag, guten Tag,
Yeah.
guten Tag und wie geht's?
Anyway,
Oh.
I'm Kenyan. Ich bin Kenyan?
Sure.
I don't know.
Sure.
Call Christine. Call a priest.
Yeah, call Christine. Call Christine's mom.
Ich heiße Lucy.
Oh.
Lucy.
Okay.
I'm Amanda.
And also, we're just not doing anything German related
Nothing.
today. No.
No, don't get your hopes up.
am occasionally inhabited by a spirit, and it happened today.
Mm-hmm.
Spirit.
And I just started doing our warm-up with a German accent for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine.
It's fine. All right. Well, we have a very special fan pick this week brought to you by Sasha Anderson. And Sasha has selected the delicious topic of bad bakeries.
Y'all.
Yeah.
I
You think of
had to pick
bakeries
a case.
being fun.
Yeah. I had to pick a case with a pastry that I didn't like so that I wouldn't just salivate through the entire research process.
I made the mistake of looking up photos of my
Bad
bakery
idea.
right before recording, and
Bad
I-
idea.
I'm really hungry. I'm so fucking hungry.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really like pastries or dessert products or like really bread. I don't know. Like bread before a meal, I feel like is unnecessary.
Okay.
Except
well,
for-
get out.
Yeah, weird. That's fucking
Texas
weird.
Roadhouse bread, but only because of the butter.
Okay.
Hi, Ray.
Also, it's just cinnamon.
You do love cookies.
Mm-hmm.
Certain cookies.
I love exactly one cookie,
Mhm.
but I'll eat like 8 of them.
Yeah.
One cookie 8 times.
And I bought a bunch of said cookies in Louisville this past weekend.
At that
Please and thank
bakery.
you. You're welcome.
I love that place.
Oh, I know.
She good.
She's so good.
Put salt in your chocolate chip cookies,
Always.
people.
Make them
it's just
salty.
that easy.
They're really good,
Always.
salty.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, let's get to our wine crime pairing for bad bakeries.
You know, for such a wonderful topic, I had to pick Winc's wonderful white blend.
Oh, like Wonder Bread.
Like Wonder Bread, like how wonderful
Sugar
it is to eat pastries if you're not
Mhm.
Lucy.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Yes, exactly. So this is a really lovely, like easy drinking table white from our friends over at Winc Wine Club. And I know you've heard us talk about Winc a million times, but guess what? I'm going to do it again.
Because it's really a good service.
It really is a great service. They deliver wine to your door. When you become a member, they start to like anticipate your needs. I have a very set it and forget it style with Winc because they send me a box every month and it's always perfect.
Yeah, I always like everything that they choose for me.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll like remember and I'll stock up on a few bottles that I like particularly love. But
Right, like if something
usually
comes
I'm
back
like,
into stock that I love, then I'll like load up.
surprise me.
Exactly.
Live
It's
a little.
amazing. And when you get a membership to Winc Wine Club, you get like special member pricing, which I love. But we are still running that incredible special at trywinc.com/wine and crime special, where you get 4 bottles for $29.95 and free shipping.
It's an amazing deal, folks. And I
Get
also
out of
love
town.
with Winc because I have the monthly subscription and I love that I never run out of wine.
Uh-huh.
Like, I never have to, if people are coming over or if I'm going to someone's house, I need to bring a gift. Like, I never I'm never at a loss.
I quite literally have a wine basket in my kitchen, and it is a massive, I can't like wrap my arms around it.
Yeah.
And so
The last time
proper wine storage.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Just
The last
piled on
time
top of each other.
The last time I came over, I was like, can I bring anything? Can I bring a bottle of wine? And you were like, bitch, no.
I sent a
No.
picture of the wine basket, and my bar downstairs is also full.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not like that's overflow.
Mm-hmm.
But that's usually where I'll store my, if I've like doubled up or tripled up on Winc wines that I like, I'll do exactly what you do, Kenyon. I put it in the wine basket, and then I have a just out the door gift.
Yeah.
Or while I'm cooking, it's like, oh, I bet blah, blah, blah would go really well with this, which I never do. So while Bill's cooking, I'm like, oh, blah, blah, blah. This would go well with this. So check it out. Like I said, try winc.com/wine and crime special. But today we are drinking this wonderful white blend. This is a fruit forward white. It's got a lot of nice like lemon, honeysuckle. It also has that minerality, like that wet stone balance. It has a little bit of earthiness to it so that it like finishes nice and dry, but it's a really nice light bodied, like I keep saying, just easy drinking white wine. And you know what? Life is hard enough.
Yeah, drink easy.
Drink easy.
In the words of LC, life's tough. Get a helmet.
Yep.
Because I just watched that episode of The Hills.
Oh my gosh, do I need to rewatch The Hills?
Throwback The Hills and throwback Real World.
Oh no.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty
Well, that's
great.
fun.
I forgot how much I loved The Real World and how that was like the epitome of adulthood when I was 12 years old.
I love it.
The amount of times that I practiced in the mirror in the bedroom that I stayed in at my grandparents' house, my real world interview.
Oh,
intake
your
interview.
audition.
Also, I'm not here to make friends.
Oh, that's an adage. That's like a mantra. I'm gonna need like archival video of Kenyon practicing.
I want that as well, but
Yeah.
it sadly
probably
does
doesn't
not
exist.
exist.
Anyway,
Recreate it.
we can. So this is a blend of 3 different white varietals: Clairette, Grenache Blanc, and Viognier. They're all sourced from southern France, which is super fun. It's aged in stainless steel, so it's not going to have like any oak. It's just what you're getting is purely the flavors from the grapes. Absolutely gorgeous. Like I said, it has those melon, citrus, and white flower notes. Easy drinking. It's 12.9% ABV. I mean, it's just all around.
It sounds like
Wonderful.
a pastry.
Yeah.
It really
You
does.
named like
like-
a bunch of fruit and white flour.
Yeah.
That's a
It's like
pastry.
the perfect croissant.
Croissant.
She is a popper, and I did not put lotion on right before this. That, which is not sarcastic, I actually didn't. But though now that I have said I did not put on lotion, my hands immediately feel insanely dry.
I just reached for some hand lotion as soon as you said
Yeah,
that.
now that's all I'm going to be able to think about for the next 2 hours. Great. All right, are we ready for that pop?
Ready?
Here we go. Maybe.
Oh, squeaky pop.
Had a little
That was
squeaker on her.
Wonderful pop.
Had a little squeaker.
Well, cheers.
Cheers, loves.
Cheers.
Oh,
Got my Sokol Blaster glass.
yum.
nice. Those
oh
are
my
cute.
God, the
Those are
nose on
cuties.
this beauty, let me tell you.
All right. Well, Lucy, what is our background and probably not psych for Bad Bakeries?
What if it was all psych? Like, what
That'd
would
be
you even
amazing.
do?
Oh, I should probably get out my jar.
Nice.
There's no psych.
Mm,
Which is not to say I'm not going to go psycho while I'm reading this.
it happens.
Well, you know, I was going to write a whole lot about bread for my notes, but I waited too long to start her.
Oh, no.
And now I just can't rise to the occasion.
Oh, no.
I don't know why I loafed around, but now I'm toast.
Oh, no.
I've got nothing left, sir.
Oh, no. Oh.
I need some good bakery facts.
Oh, wow. How
So if you
is-
have any, holla at me.
is this your entire section?
Anyway,
Get out. You're
Oh.
fired. You're fired.
Oh, no.
It's been a really good run.
Also, the amount of possible holla puns are so good. I have 2 different holla pun doormats
You do.
I am
Doormat.
You do.
I can't get enough.
Oh, my word. Okay.
They don't really fill you up.
Oh,
Okay.
this is too much.
Oh,
It's
no.
almost the end of my bread puns that I wrote into my notes. You're welcome.
I see it.
I was vacuuming.
She's on a roll.
I
Stop.
was on a roll.
Stop. No.
Smooth like butter on a roll.
Oh, my God.
So I was vacuuming this morning and thinking about bread, and
I also
that's just what I
vacuumed this
came up
morning.
with. Nice.
I got up at 8:30 today. I
What?
got so much done. Yeah, I had.
I got a lot. Yeah, I woke up kind of early. Too.
It was
not
nuts.
that 8:30's that early for normal people,
That's
but it's early for
really
me.
early.
Crack of dawn.
Crack
In Alaska
up with the rooster crow.
in November. Okay. So a bakery is a shop that sells products made from flour or meal, usually derived from some sort of grain. These products might include bread, rolls, cookies, pies, pastries, and muffins.
Love a good
Now that we
muff.
know what a fucking bakery is.
Don't forget scones.
Yeah.
I will scold you if you forget scones.
And scones. So bread is really mostly what I'll be talking about today, and this is from my lover Encyclopedia Britannica. The earliest processing of cereal grains probably involved parching or dry roasting of collected grain seeds. Flavor, texture, and digestibility were later improved by cooking whole or broken grains with water, forming gruel or porridge.
Gruel.
Yum.
So like we've heard of like gruel and porridge and all that curds and whey,
I
and
guess
they're
I
basically
didn't
all
realize that gruel is like a grain base. I guess I thought that porridge was grain base and gruel was somehow like a hodgepodge of wet meats.
Oh, no, you couldn't afford meat.
no, yeah, it's just whatever the fuck
miscellaneous
you have.
parts.
Yeah, so like there are a lot of different byproducts of like making bread, including beer. We'll get to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think that that's kind of interesting that we stumbled upon all of these other edibles on our journey to bread.
And whey dairy? That's
It's
different.
cheese. I know.
Yeah,
Curds
okay.
and whey are the cheese, but we
Okay.
recently did the cheese crime, so
It was in your brain.
it was in my brain.
We need to
Okay.
have an MTV making the band style show, but it's called Making the Gruel, and we can get gruel tutorials. Write that one
Making
down.
the sausage.
I'm on it.
Write that, yeah.
Kenyon,
log
write it-
that one for our next TV
That's a
pitch.
really good
Our
one.
next
Write it
TV
down.
pitch meeting,
Yeah.
Making the Gruel.
Write
With the
it
wine
down
and crime
for
gal.
later.
We should have, for
Put
these
it in a
TV
box.
pitch meetings that go nowhere,
for later.
we should have a code word that we say to each other to know to just like really tank it.
Just go off.
Yeah.
Making the Gruel. Unleash
Put it
the
in the
gruel.
box for later.
Let's go. I love making the gruel.
Lock it in your mind.
Someone's going to want that. That's valuable to somebody.
Making the gruel.
Oh my God.
Mark my words, if that shit pops up somewhere,
The Great
Mark-
Gals
Mark
Bake Off,
Twain
but
my
it's
words.
just
Mark Twain my
gruel every
words.
episode.
I want my cut.
Ick. Your slice.
My slice of gruel.
Okay, so it was a short step to the baking of a layer of viscous gruel on a hot stone, producing a very primitive flatbread.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So we're getting there.
Yeah, this thing is disgusting. Maybe if I fry it, it'll be better.
That's always the
Or
answer.
at least just heat it on a
Yeah.
hot stone.
Right.
Ugh, fry it, baby.
More sophisticated versions of flatbread include the Mexican tortilla, made of processed corn, and the chapati of India, usually made of wheat.
Friggin' yum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Baking techniques improved with the development of an enclosed baking utensil and then of ovens. So an enclosed baking utensil, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, like
basically
a
a small
cast
oven.
iron doot doot that you
Something
can stick
with
on
a
your wood
lid.
stove or whatever.
Something, a little
A
little
clamp.
vessel. Mm-hmm. Making possible thicker baked cakes or loaves. The phenomenon of fermentation, which should be, if it's not already, the title of a book. With the resultant lightening of the loaf structure and development of appealing flavors, which apparently hadn't existed yet.
Let me lighten your loaf.
was probably first observed when doughs or gruels held for several hours before baking exhibited spoilage caused by yeast.
Wow.
Appealing.
So, like, letting shit rise was like an accident, and then they were like, oh, actually, this is dope.
Yep.
Dope.
Exactly. Dr. Phil. Some of the effects of the microbiologically induced changes were regarded as desirable. So, like, some of it didn't turn out great, but some of it was like, oh, okay.
Some of it probably killed people. Have you ever let something act like once we accidentally let chickpeas ferment?
Oh,
just because, like, we were young and stupid and didn't, like, do the dishes. And then, like, the next day, it was like, what the
Foul.
fuck? Yeah.
Have you ever eaten old salsa?
No.
Like still in the jar?
Where it's like,
I'm like a maniac about, does that look like mold? I think, you know what, just in case, throw it out.
There wasn't mold. It was just old fermented salsa, and it tastes a little bit like beer. It's like kind of like fizzy a little bit.
I will
like
take your word for it. Yeah.
It's like kombucha.
Fuck that.
Salsa kombucha.
I like kombucha, but I can't handle the mother. Wow.
I can't. I just won't go there.
Someone I used to work with at a food magazine that will remain unnamed was experimenting with kombucha, and when the mother of her latest project, like she was kind of done with it and it was sort of not great anymore, she like held a full funeral for it.
Oh, okay.
Like buried it.
That's a bit much.
I don't like it.
I liked it. I love a funeral.
Oh, God. We know.
Anyway, okay, so some of these are regarded as desirable, and a gradual acquisition of control over the process led to traditional methods for making leavened bread loaves. Early baked products were made of mixed seeds with a predominance of barley, but wheat flour, because of its superior response to fermentation, eventually became the preferred cereal among the various cultural groups sufficiently advanced in culinary techniques to make leavened bread. So we started with barley. Probably because of its abundance. I'm assuming because they used barley to like make other things. But then when the fermentation experiments began, they were like, actually, wheat flour makes
more sense.
Better bread.
Yeah.
Well, is barley also preferable for like feeding livestock over wheat?
Probably.
So it has like that dual use. So that makes more sense.
Gruel use.
Gruel use.
Early on, baking and beer making were very closely related because of that fermentation magic, as it were, at the time. The gruel could really go either way. So like a thicker gruel was suitable for bread baking, and a thinner mash, which is what it is when it's like thinner, produced a kind of beer, or like sort of like a kombucha, like we were saying.
Interesting.
Eventually, people realized that wheat was best for baking while barley was better for brewing beer. And I'm assuming feeding livestock. I think barley was probably more multi-purpose. They just had more of it. They just did more with it.
Sure.
Egyptians are credited with the first intentional use of leavening around 2600 BCE.
They were so advanced.
Ahead of
the ancient Egyptians were fucking wild. I mean,
they really were.
Not great about the incest thing.
Well, we all have our,
blind
our quirks.
Yeah.
Our idiosyncrasies.
But besides that, really advanced.
We all have our quirks.
And the enslavement. Not great.
Well,
moving on.
Of course not. As far as the incest
Can't we enjoy
thing, though,
anything anymore?
As far as the incest thing, so many people like died at a young age. Like they probably didn't have a lot of like empirical data to prove that incest in the long run is not great.
Oh, they knew.
You know what I mean?
I'm going to do this for a drunk dive soon. We'll get to it.
Oh, Lord. Okay.
Been listening to a lot of audiobooks.
I guess their civilization, it's a very long... They played the long game.
Yeah.
Anyway, looking forward to that drunk dive. So, again, the Egyptians were experts on sourdough well before 2020, despite what some may think.
Oh, God.
They figured out how to flavor different types of bread using things like poppy seed, sesame, and camphor,
Yum.
which, by the way, in its natural, well, in its
Isn't that
synthetic state is what's
flammable?
in like Vicks Vapor Rub.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's like an anti-inflammatory,
Minty.
minty. Yeah. So
Well.
they use the natural camphor, which is from like tree bark in their. I just can't imagine that it tasted that great.
Sure. You know, always got to try something once.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Maybe that just speaks to how fucking gross like the pure state of their
It was
bread
something
tasted.
different.
Something
It was
different.
something different.
That tastes a little different.
Maybe their palates were just a little bit different
A little
from
different.
ours.
When I was at the airport leaving Louisville, and I furiously, meaning excitably, texted you guys because waiting for our flight to Minneapolis, there was a woman behind me who said they were talking about their weekend or their visit to somewhere, and she was like, it was a little different. And I was like, oh my God, we just talked about this.
What was she talking about?
She went to some valley, something or other,
Of the
Monument
Shadow of
Valley or
Death.
something,
Okay.
and she seemed to really have enjoyed herself, but also said it was a little different. So just not something she
Great.
experienced
It's
a little
before.
different.
It was a
from
little different.
Monument Valley and the Kettle Lakes of the upper Midwest are a little
A
different.
little different.
So, ancient Egyptians made about 50 different types of bread, and they also developed the first ovens.
Wow.
Cool.
In Rome, baking was basically a domestic chore. In the middle of the 2nd century BCE, the women of the richer families got tired of tedious bread making, so they did what rich women do and outsourced that chore to professional bakers, usually recently freed enslaved people. They used clay beehive-shaped ovens that were fired by wood. So these early ovens are basically what you think of like a backyard clay
green
like
egg.
pizza oven
Oh, okay.
with like a spout on top, and then
Yeah.
it's like, you know,
Well, that's fun.
yeah.
That's different.
I mean, they pretty much hit the nail on the head. That's pretty much how we still
Do it.
Right.
It's an oven.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
The first mechanical dough mixer, loved this, was developed by formerly enslaved Greek man Marcus Virgilius Eurysaches.
Okay.
It was a large stone basin in which wooden paddles, powered by a horse or a donkey walking in circles, kneaded the dough mixture of flour, leaven, and water.
Cool.
Whoa.
They just walked around and it kneaded the dough, like
Yeah.
huge amounts of dough.
Sure.
I mean,
sure.
it's basically just a KitchenAid.
Mm-hmm.
It's a huge donkey powered KitchenAid.
living KitchenAid.
I love it.
Kitchen braid.
Oh,
Get it?
she braid.
Like a donkey braid.
Right.
Oh.
We got there. Once he explained it.
Did you guys hear my
I'm
joke?
not firing on all cylinders right now.
Did you
And the
hear it, though?
coffee is not even helping. I don't know what it is.
It's a perpetual state. It's fine.
Yeah.
Guilds formed by the Miller bakers of Rome became institutionalized eventually during the 2nd century CE under the Flavians. Flavians?
Flava,
Flavians.
Flav.
Flava. Wow.
Flavian of love.
I liked that. Flavian of love. So they were organized into a college with work rules and regulations prescribed by government officials. Like they
you
were
don't say.
serious about it. The trade eventually became obligatory and hereditary, and the baker became a kind of civil servant with limited freedom of action.
Oh, dear.
It's like the last name Baker. Sorry
Carries-
to your ancestors because you were like literally, you had to be bakers.
Yep.
During the Middle Ages, these guilds became super duper serious. They required several years of apprenticeship and journeymanship. I made that word up. before they were accepted into these guilds.
Mm-hmm.
Because they took it so damn seriously, it was during this time that bread became, like, really good.
Gotcha.
Rich people could afford white bread, but poor people ate rye bread because the grains were cheaper.
I like rye bread better. It's more flavorful.
It's also way more nutritious. Like, the poor people were eating, like, way more nutritious breads because it had, like, chunks of stuff still in it.
Right.
And
there's more sugar in the like the rich people bread.
Yeah.
Right. The rich people bread, like white bread today, was like kind of just fluff.
Like a sweet treat.
Right. But the rich people had access to like so many other foods, so they were getting their nutrients elsewhere. Whereas like poor people, bread made up like 80% of their fucking diet.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah. And I thought this was fascinating. It wasn't until about 1865 that the prices between white bread and rye bread evened out so that most people could afford either one.
Interesting.
1865.
Yeah. That's a long time to be priced out of bread.
I think so. So that's a little bit about the history of bread. And now I would like to address something a bit more current, and that is Subway bread.
Oh, good.
Very excited to learn about this. But real quick, have either of you ever baked bread?
No, I don't like bread.
Not really. I've made like banana bread, which does not count.
No, I've made challah
Corey
once
Corey
during the
has
pandemic.
Corey's got a biscuit recipe that for people who like biscuits, they say it's very good.
I like
He
biscuits.
does those for
I
Thanksgiving.
like biscuits for something
next time
different.
we come to Des Moines, will he make biscuits for me for
please.
something different?
Please,
He
please,
could make
please.
some biscuits and gravy for Brockfast.
Oh my God, yes.
Yes.
I love this idea.
He would be happy to do that.
Okay.
Okay, so this is from a 2020 article from The Guardian. The Irish Supreme Court has ruled that the bread served at Subway, which is the U.S. chain that hawks giant sandwiches in 110 countries and territories. I like that we hawk giant sandwiches.
I mean, it's very American.
Could not, in fact, be defined as bread because of its high sugar content.
Oh, my word.
The ruling followed an appeal by Bookfinders Limited, Subway's Irish franchisee. The company had argued that the bread used in Subway sandwiches counted as a staple food and was consequently exempt from VAT tax, VAT.
Wasn't there also like a rumor about it having like yoga mat?
We'll get to it, honey.
Okay.
Because that
Making
was
sure.
my main...
Need it.
You know, you try to go out there and make healthy choices.
Yeah, and then you're eating a yoga mat.
Yeah.
All of a sudden,
Before
you're
you
eating
know
rubber.
it, this is why exercise is too
You're eating a
dangerous.
cake made out of yoga mats.
Yeah. Yeah.
However, as the court pointed out, Ireland's Value Added Tax Act of 1972 draws a distinction between staple foods such as bread, tea, coffee, cocoa, milk, and, quote, preparations or extracts of meat or eggs, and more discretionary indulgences such as ice cream, chocolate, pastries, crisps, popcorn, and roasted nuts.
Very judgmental, but fine.
I'll allow it.
Painting with a wide brush, but whatever. The clincher was the Act's strict provision that the amount of sugar in bread, quote, shall not exceed 2% of the weight of flour included in the dough.
Okay.
Subway's bread, however, contains 5 times as much sugar.
Cool.
Or as the Supreme Court put it, in this case, there is no dispute that the bread supplied by Subway in its heated sandwiches has a sugar content of 10% of the weight of the flour included in the dough.
What about the
Dear-
not heated sandwiches?
Dear God.
Can we safely assume it's the same?
Yeah, it's the
I
same
don't
dough.
remember the last time I ate Subway.
It's probably
I had
the
it
same at
last
like
week.
Jimmy John's. You know?
It's not the same. Sometimes I really want the sugary bread of Subway, like I did last week, and I got it, and it just scratched an itch. It just did. Don't at me.
God damn it.
The appeal arose from a claim by Bookfinder Limited that they were owed a refund from February 2004 to December 2005 when they paid VAT at a composite rate of 9.2%. They argued that they should instead have been subjected to 0% VAT because they were saying it's fucking bread.
Right.
It's one of the necessary foodstuffs.
This is a wild fucking lawsuit.
Yeah.
It's very bizarre.
This is wild that somebody was like, you know what? I want to just find a way, finagle a way to get this amount more money, which is probably a lot. I'm sure it adds up.
9.2% of their import. That's a lot.
That is a lot.
But like the fact that someone thought to do this, I would have just been like, oh, well, it's bread.
Yep.
It's bread. Yeah.
That's amazing.
But Mr. Justice O'Donnell was not persuaded and the appeal was dismissed.
Wow.
Quote, the argument depends on the acceptance of the prior contention that the Subway heated sandwich, I don't know why they keep calling it a heated sandwich. I never get my sandwiches toasted.
No. Maybe it's more common to do so in Ireland. It can be very cold and wet over there.
Chili, yeah, it can be chili. That the Subway heated sandwich contains bread as defined and therefore can be said to be food for the purposes of the second schedule rather than the confectionery, he ruled. Since that argument has been rejected, this subsidiary argument must fail. This is my favorite part. In a statement sent to The Guardian, a spokesperson for Subway said, quote, Subway's bread is, of course, bread, end quote.
Of course.
And that spokesperson is making more money per year than anyone we know.
And that statement didn't really age well.
Is, of course, bread. This ruling is not the first slice of controversy for the brand.
Here we go.
In 2014, Subway decided to start removing the flour whitening agent. Oh, here we go.
Styrofoam.
Azodicarbonamide.
If you can pronounce it, you can eat it.
Oh, no.
Azodicarbonamide.
That's
from its
the rule.
From its baked goods after a petition circulated online. This ingredient is commonly used in the manufacturing of yoga mats and carpet underlay.
The sponginess.
Yeah.
The sponginess. And has been banned by the European Union and Australia from use in food products.
We really
Subway's
just
like, fine.
Americans
It's
just
so scary.
don't care. We're like,
It
is it good? Is
Does
it carpet?
taste good?
I'm not asking if it's carpet. I'm asking if it tastes good.
We're all on our way out anyway.
Yeah, I'm here for a good time, not a long time.
Exactly.
There is just like nothing that is safe to eat.
Nothing.
It would take so much time and effort to just try to live safely.
Not
You'd
even
have
clean.
to go off the grid and be
safe.
one of those people
You have to farm.
who live in the middle of nowhere and like homeschool their kids and like
We're just constantly bombarded by like chemicals and hormones and fucking carcinogens and
nothing
sugar.
is safe. Nothing and no one is safe.
God,
have a good
damn.
day.
God damn it.
That's my case.
Well, basically, so there you have it. Sometimes bread is bread, and sometimes bread is kind of yoga mats. And that is my segment. I hope I left you with some crumbs of knowledge.
The bread is, of course, bread.
Bread.
Okay, well, I went in a different direction.
Oh, good.
I should hope so.
All right. Before it became a gentrified hub of high-rise luxury condos and hipster coffee shops, Williamsburg, Brooklyn was the home turf of the Italian mafia.
Oh, nice.
Traces of old-school Italian Williamsburg can still be seen today, as some of the businesses from back in the day have managed to survive the influx of new money and skyrocketing rents. And also my in-laws could have bought a loft in Williamsburg for like $100,000 back in the late 80s, and they did not. And God damn it, Kenny!
You blew it.
Anyway.
He blew it on his sneakers.
Yeah, your New Balances. I hope you're happy.
I hope he has just
His
a
trove of New Balances.
bunch of stock in New Balance.
He's invested enough.
All right, so one such business is the Fortunato Brothers Bakery on Manhattan Avenue in Williamsburg, and I have been there, and it is actually quite delicious.
Mm.
And although several of these old Italian establishments have rumored mafia ties, in the case of this bakery, Fortunato, the rumors are definitely true, to quote Lizzo.
All right.
The owner of the bakery, Mario Fortunato, has been convicted on multiple charges for plotting the 1994 murder of a loan shark named Sabatini Lombardi. Fortunato is also an alleged associate of the Genovese crime family, the oldest and largest of the so-called five families that dominated, and many would say continue to dominate, organized crime in New York. So Fortunato is connected.
I'm sorry, but these names always really make me want like salami or like just spicy sliced deli meats.
Or cannoli from Fortunato Bakery.
From Subway. What's the meat sandwich?
You don't get cannoli at Subway.
No, I don't think they offer that.
No.
The cold cut combo. That's what I want.
There you go. So go get it. Just go eat a yoga mat.
Not even kidding you, I had Jimmy John's for lunch, so I probably don't need Subway now for my second lunch.
Well, there are going to be a lot of names, so get ready to be hungry. And I did draw a map for myself to keep the names straight.
We have it.
Incredible.
I texted it to both of you so you can
I'm
follow.
going to spend the next few minutes ordering Postmates.
Okay.
Because
So
I
Subway?
just realized how hungry I am. No.
So you see Mario Fortunato and Bakery, and then under the wings of the Genovese crime family on the chart.
I see it.
You drew wings.
I know.
Mhm.
So I'm very visual.
I know.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
So back in 1994, Fortunato became involved in conspiring to kill Sabatini Lombardi through his friendship with a man named Carmine Polito, who owned Carmine's Pizza in Astoria, Queens. So Mario Fortunato is BFFs with Carmine Polito, Pizza, and Carmine's a gambler.
Got it.
Okay.
The chart tracks.
Yeah.
Carmine Craps, Polito Pizza.
Got it.
But that's one person, but we can remember everything about him from his name.
Love it.
Oh, okay. You're right. That is one person.
Unfortunately for Pizza Polito / Craps
Hot belly
Carmine,
sandwiches. Yeah.
he was a
continue.
compulsive gambler and constantly in debt. And it was common for him to fund his addiction by borrowing money from loan sharks such as Sabatini Lombardi, which is
Loaning Lombardi.
loaning Lombardi, and he's a saboteur. He self-sabotages.
Self-saboteurs.
You don't want to be borrowing money to gamble from Italian mafia loan sharks.
No, you don't.
Not a good plan.
Not great.
So when Pizza Polito reached out to Bakery Fortunato, he was already $50,000 in debt to Lombardi and $10,000 in debt to Lombardi's cousin, Michael D'Urso, who goes by the nickname Cookie.
Got it. Oh, I see him on the chart. Okay.
No
There's too
relation.
many foods. There's too many foods.
I know. Cookie, no relation to the bakery.
Got it.
Yeah. Also, his last name, I'm pretty sure, means the bear. So his name is literally Cookie the Bear.
I love that.
Was also thinking bears with D'Urso. D'Urso.
So both of whom were part of the Genovese family. So this is all kind of within the Genovese family. It's not an inter-family conflict. It's an intra-family conflict.
Consult the graph.
Yes.
Okay.
Together, Fortunato and Polito allegedly hatched a plan to take out the two men. They lured them to the San Giuseppe Social Club on Graham Avenue to play an Italian card game called Ladder 40. And can you just fucking picture this? It is so good.
Shoots and ladders.
Yeah,
Love.
Shoots and Italian ladders. It's 1994, and everybody is Italian at cafes.
Fucking shoots and ladders.
yeah. Shoots and ladders. So here, as planned, the group was ambushed in the early hours of the morning by a team of 3 hitmen who shot and killed Sabatini Lombardi and injured Cookie the bear.
Okay.
Immediately after the shootings, Polito and Fortunato ran out of the club along with the hitmen. So they weren't hurt, and they fled with the hitmen.
Okay.
So they organized it.
It's pretty fucking clear that they organized it.
To get out of his debt.
Right, to get Carmine out of his craps debt.
Got it.
So the hitmen drove the car. They had arrived into an impound yard in Greenpoint, where they abandoned it. Polito then picked them up and drove them to a diner in Queens for breakfast, which is just so great.
And a quick stop at Kenyon Lang's wedding hashtags and family reunion t-shirt and Paria.
This is very Goodfellas.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So Fortunato, on the other hand, simply walked home from the crime scene. And I checked, and it's roughly a 2-mile walk from Greenpoint to Williamsburg.
Well, he got to cool off.
Yeah, and then he got to walk off the cannolis, and then he went to bed.
Got it.
Fortunato was questioned later that same morning, though, by NYPD detectives investigating the shooting. And he told them that he'd been there that night playing Ladders 40, but claimed he'd gone home hours before the shooting occurred and knew nothing about it.
Mm-hmm.
Hours? It's like Monopoly. It takes all night.
I don't know. They're all hanging out.
Yeah.
But after he learned that Cookie, the bear, had survived the attack, Fortunato admitted to detectives that he had been there the whole night because the guy who was shot and survived was like, nah, he was fucking there.
Yeah, I saw him.
Mm-hmm. And changed his story to now say that he had not seen the faces of the men who fired the shots. So Fortunato was like, okay, fine, I was there. People came and shot, but I don't know who the fuck they were. And then I just ran away because I was scared.
Mm-hmm.
He would stick with this second story for years, insisting that he had been there but had no idea who shot Lombardi and Cookie or why. In the course of the investigation, Cookie the bear became a government snitch.
Okay.
Ooh, cookie flip.
Cookie flipped.
Got to. You got to protect your neck.
Mm-hmm.
Don't flip your cookies.
Also, he was the victim here of an attempted hit.
Yeah.
Within his own crime family.
Mm-hmm.
So he probably was like, fuck these people.
Sure.
Yeah.
But not before making 2 failed attempts on Carmine's life in revenge for the shooting. So first he tried to get his own revenge.
Okay.
So Cookie the bear described to authorities how there had been...
Cookie the bear.
I'm just making it up.
I love Cookie the bear.
There had been
really
bad
cute.
blood between his family and Mario Fortunato for years. He stated in one interview that, quote, since I was a kid, I used to watch Mario abuse my father. He'd belittle him at the card table. He'd put a chair next to my father, get on the chair, and fart on his head.
Oh, my.
What?
Hey, if it works, it works. Been doing it for years to get what I want.
That was the abuse? Okay.
A violent Dutch oven.
It would
Dutch
be,
oven.
It could
Works
be
for bakeries.
really, really rude and mean and belittling, you know?
Yeah, I
he
mean, it's
probably
nasty.
is a huge dick.
I mean,
know?
it's gross for sure.
But, to do it to somebody that they can't, say anything back to you because you're higher up the ladders 40 than they are in the
That's
mafia.
true.
That's a really mean fucking thing to do. Also, look on the drive. There are photos of Mario Fortunato, and he just looks like the Italian male version of Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Oh.
He just look at this man. He's
Yeah.
so small.
His little glasses.
Cute. His ears are huge.
You know what? He looks scarier in the second photo with the cigarette.
Yeah. Where he's pointing.
I take
Oh,
it back.
yeah.
I'm sorry, Mario.
Still enormous
I'm sorry,
ears.
oh.
I'm sorry, oh. So Cookie the Bear began wearing a hidden recording device in his Rolex, helping the feds gather a massive amount of evidence against the Genovese family.
In his Rolex.
Mm-hmm. His aid as an informant eventually led to more than 70 arrests, including that of the family boss at the time, a man named Vincent the Chin Gigante.
Is it because his
The
chin
giant
is
chin.
gigante? I
don't know.
Is
I
there a
like
photo
the
on the
very
drive?
literal nickname.
Yeah.
The chin.
The giant chin.
I don't know. The chin might be like it might not be so literal. Oh no, he does have quite a chin.
Is he on the drive?
No, not yet. I'll add him to the drive. It might just be like he can take it on the chin. You know, it might be more like proverbial. I don't know.
He's tough.
He looks rough. So anyway, as well as Fortunato and Carmine Polito for the murder of Sabatini Lombardi. By this time, it was 2002, almost a decade after the shooting had taken place. Upon his arrest, Mario Fortunato stuck to his story that he had been there playing cards that night but had not seen who fired the shots. Fortunato finally went to trial in 2003. The shooting took place in 1994.
Wow.
And Cookie the Bear testified that they had been targeted that night so that Carmine Polito could avoid paying his debts. Both Fortunato and Polito were convicted of the murder in federal court, as well as on various racketeering charges and obstruction of justice. So like lying to the FBI. And
Sure.
Also like standard practice of like attempting to influence the testimony of two grand jury witnesses. Like,
Yeah,
no
that
big deal.
old
Let's
chestnut.
just
Blah, blah, blah.
blah, blah, blah. As you do. However, the convictions were overturned on appeal.
Of course.
A judge ruled that the case should not have been prosecuted in federal court because the hit on on Sabatini.
Consult the chart.
Consult the chart. Lombardi died. The hit on Sabatini Lombardi, which was successful, and the attempted one on Cookie, was the result of a personal grudge and not related to a larger organized crime conspiracy. They were just like, nah, they're just fucking killing each other
For
over
funsies.
this personal debt.
Right.
But it's not like
It's not a federal case.
it's not like an organized crime case. It's just a homicide.
Wow.
Wow.
So the duo was then re-indicted in state court, and this time one of the hitmen also testified at trial. I don't know how they fucking found the hitman. So Anthony Bruno described to the jurors how he, quote, nervously paced back and forth with a .38 tucked into his waist, end quote, trying to work up the courage to carry out the hit that he had been hired for. And when you're trying to carry out a hit, you've been hired by mobsters to kill other mobsters, that's got to be scary.
Yeah.
Yeah. High pressure situation.
Quote, I'm combing my hair in the club's mirror and I just said to myself, screw it. I turned around and pulled my gun out and shot Mike, the cookie, in the back of the head. I pulled the trigger and I saw Mike's hair split as the bullet went in.
Oh.
There is a lot of tension on your scalp skin,
Okay,
though.
yep.
Splits easily.
Okay.
As we know from the staircase.
Much like a drum.
It does. It splits like a drum.
So prosecutors argued that Carmine Polito had planned the murder, quote, as a means of escaping his gambling debts, whereas Fortunato had helped him in order to, quote, avenge a long-standing grudge, just because he didn't like these other two and because he was Carmine's friend. Ultimately, a jury acquitted Carmine, but Fortunato, who had requested that a judge decide his case instead of a jury, was convicted of second-degree murder for his role in planning and covering up the hit. So that'll show him to help out a friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never help a friend. Yep.
But again, his conviction was overturned on appeal.
Dang, they just can't
Jesus.
keep him.
No, he's a slippery little fucker.
Yeah.
And then in 2014, Fortunato won a $300,000 settlement from the state of New York after filing a lawsuit claiming that he was unjustly convicted and jailed because he'd spent 22 months in prison between the first conviction and when his second conviction was overturned.
Come on.
So he won 300 grand.
He's making money.
Yeah.
He's making money.
Yeah. As the New York Daily News so eloquently put it, bakery owner Fortunato was now, quote, rolling in the cannolis.
No.
They're rolled.
Oh, God.
They're rolled.
They're rolled.
Yeah, I get it.
And rolling.
Did you hear my
Yeah.
joke?
Did
I cut out?
Did you hear it?
Did you hear it?
Ironically, though, Cookie the bear, who still has bullet fragments in his neck from
Good
the
God.
attempt on his life, stated in an interview after learning of the settlement, quote, "I'm shocked. It's a complete disgrace. I lived. My cousin died. My cousin Tino's wife," which I guess that's what they called, Sabatini. God, sorry. So Sabatini went by Tino.
Consult the chart.
Look
Consult
at the chart.
The chart is extremely helpful, is it not?
I know.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
My cousin Tino's wife, his mother, his children, they went through torture. For them to have to see Fortunato on the street every day, my heart bleeds for them.
Yeah.
And he does. He's just like out. He's pretty famous. Like that bakery is very famous.
Mm-hmm.
Quote, "Me, I don't give a fuck about him, but for my family, it's heartbreaking."
Yeah.
To this day, Mario Fortunato continues to own and operate the Fortunato Brothers Bakery. Most recently, the bakery was back in the news in 2015 after a woman named Valerie Williams, who has cerebral palsy and uses a wheelchair, made a short-lived attempt to sue the bakery for failing to comply with the Americans with Disabilities Act by not providing a ramp entrance.
You know,
Fuck.
that sucks. That might not be a fight worth picking.
Well, Williams's lawyer soon dropped the case, however, for fear of mafia retribution.
Yeah, that's
Like,
so
she definitely
fucked up.
didn't know that this was, like, a connected bakery. She just
Right.
was like, this place has been around since the 70s. It should have a fucking ramp.
Mm-hmm.
And it should have a fucking ramp.
Yeah, I think that is a fight worth picking.
Well,
Some places are grandfathered in certain zoning issues and whatever. I'm not saying that it's right
no, you meant
obviously-
it's not a fight worth picking because of the personal...
because of the mafia.
Right, exactly.
That's what
Because
I
of the
meant.
personal risk.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Which is what she also came to decide. So Williams told the Daily News, quote, "I used to make a joke about the men standing outside the bakery. I called them the Godfathers."
Little did she know.
She didn't fucking
Literally.
know.
Oh, no.
Oh.
You know, you see a bunch of old Italian men in Brooklyn and you're like,
Right.
you know,
Right.
yeah. So of course,
But actually.
maybe don't sue them.
Ooh.
According to one source, the Genovese, some people say Genovese, but I say Genovese, crime family has retained its power throughout the years by strictly following omerta, a code of secrecy and non-cooperation with law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas it is somewhat common for mobsters to turn informant, only 10 members of this family,
Mm-hmm.
including Michael the Cookie the Bear,
Mm-hmm.
have done so in the group's entire known history,
Whoa.
which stretches back to 1931.
The loyalty.
Wow.
Yeah.
The fear.
Yeah.
The fear.
Wow.
Yeah. So
I love a mafia bakery.
And then one of the headlines in the Post, the New York Post, was "Mob Baker Killed Man for Dough."
Oh, wow.
It all was over a bunch of dough.
Yeah.
A
So-
bunch of dough.
So that's my case.
Nice.
And then there are just like a bunch of pictures of cannoli. It's really good.
That's
So
amazing.
refreshing.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love it.
There you go.
Nice work.
Well done.
Yeah. Thanks.
Oh,
Maybe
yeah, these
I
photos are
Do
amazing.
want a pastry.
Right?
Mhm.
The display case is really like sending me to the moon with hunger.
It's selling.
Is that a
it.
cake surrounded by meatballs? Because I need it to be.
Is it?
I mean, it's not. I think those are like little cinnamon
Yeah.
balls, but they
Yeah.
they
Looks like
kind
it's
of look
something
like
rolled
meatballs.
in nuts.
There was
Oh.
another photo of a cake that was made to look like a pizza, which was
Cute.
very cute. I don't
I
want to
like
give
the
them
one-
money,
Love a
though.
theme. Well, yeah.
There's like a layered cake with like a green, white, red, like Italian
Mhm.
flag motif.
Mhm.
Cute.
I want a meatball cake. Is it so much to ask?
It's not. We will make that happen for you. Are you ready for my case?
Maybe.
Your cake case.
Nobody dies,
Okay.
so I have
right.
that on Kenyon.
Yep.
But
Always.
Always.
this case is wild. I love it so much.
Excellent.
So once again, thank you, Reddit, for revealing this scandalous case of the Colin Street Bakery. And if you know it, just don't say anything.
I don't think I know it.
Never heard of it.
Okay, so this bakery is located and still very much operational today in Corsicana, Texas. It was established in 1896, and this bakery holds the title of the world's most renowned purveyor of fruitcakes.
Oh!
My
Which-
grandma loves fruitcake.
I hate them, so I will never go to this bakery. But the bakery is fine. It's not like your situation, Kenyon, where we like can't go. We don't want to support that bakery. We can support this bakery. It's fine.
Okay.
From Wikipedia, quote, fruitcake accounts for 98% of the bakery's total sales. The company sells about 3 million pounds of fruitcake each year, which equates to 1.5 million individual cakes.
Holy
Wow.
fucking shit. I always go into bakeries and see all of these like very decadent, elaborate cakes that I would maybe partake in like once a year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, how are you selling all of these every
Well,
single day?
fruitcake is not cute
Fruitcake's different.
or
Also,
elaborate.
according to math, that means that every single fruitcake is 2 fucking pounds.
Fruitcake is dense,
Yeah.
and we'll kind of get to it.
You could break a window with a fruitcake.
I'm just
it's-
Googling fruitcake right now.
It's nuts.
Okay, yeah, it's what I thought.
They're
it was.
kind of gelatinous almost.
Yeah, they're.
It's like a weird bread almost sometimes.
Yes, it's very bready. It also has a lot of salt, which gives them a super long shelf life, which we'll get to.
Oh yeah.
So the bakery was one of the early businesses to enter the mail order business. So remember, this was founded in 1896.
Dang.
So they were basically early Amazon for fruitcakes.
Okay.
Because the Ringling Brothers Circus rolled through town in 1914 and loved these cakes so fucking much that, like, everyone working and running the circus ordered a fuck ton of these cakes to be mailed as Christmas gifts to friends and family all over the world. The only 2 countries they've not shipped cakes to are Cuba and Iran. That's it.
North Korea?
I guess it's not left out.
Yeah.
And back before
Wow.
there were like sanctions on any of that shit.
Right. They could have done it well before the 50s. And then,
Oh, they absolutely did.
wow.
So like if you're gonna mail a perishable especially in the early 1900s, at least
They're
a fruitcake.
barely perishable.
Exactly. A fruitcake has a super long shelf life. And
Yeah.
like ish.
Mhm.
Ish.
Gross.
So this idea expanded in 1947 when the bakery was purchased from its original owners, who were German immigrants who came to Texas and opened their cute little bakery. And I cannot make this shit up. The person who bought it is named Lee William McNutt, or Bill McNutt. Bill McNutt owning the fruitcake business, who later appointed his son Bob McNutt
Bill
as
and Bob
president.
McNutt,
Bill and
the
Bob
McNutts.
McNutt. It's a family business.
Oh my God.
So Bob became president of the company, and Bill McNutt, passed away many, many, many years ago. So they basically launched a direct marketing campaign under Bob McNutt by having employees pull names and numbers from phone books and like target potential cake buyers and send them mailers and make calls and just be like, hey, you need a fruitcake?
They just
phone books, they just...
Yes.
Yeah,
Random people.
It was before. I mean, yeah, it was.
That's
was
an old lady
pre-internet.
name. I'm going to send her a
Totally.
mailer.
Well, and think about it around the holidays where it's like you're one of the early businesses that does direct mail, like shipping gifts.
Maybe that's how my grandma Elaine got started on fruitcakes.
Honestly,
Maybe.
I wouldn't
She
be
was
shocked
targeted.
if Elaine got one of these cakes.
We
Yeah.
should. That's how we should change our almost non-existent marketing to.
Just buy old phone books and just start cold
Yeah,
calling people.
Did
Do you like
listen to
murder?
podcasts? It's like a radio show, but
on the internet?
Yeah.
Is your
Yeah.
name Ashley? There's a good chance you listen to our show.
Amazing. So where was I? Bob McNutt.
McNutt.
Yep. Okay. So the interest peaked among customers, and this opened up orders by phone, mail, fax.
Yes, thank God.
Before the internet, and then eventually you could order online. When computers and internet became household tools, Colin Street Bakery pioneered the use of computerized databases for like sales, for efficiency in orders and shipments. So like,
I bet they had the same people that ordered the cakes year after year.
Yep.
Wow.
Well, and it's so funny to think about how like the American online like order database and structure, a lot of it is like based on what the Colin Street Bakery was doing, because they were sort of like the OGs of doing this.
Somebody was really organized.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can get it in a cute little gift box in like a tin.
Yeah.
I'm ordering one for my grandma right now.
That's genius.
So the company continued to grow, and in 1998, they hired a bookkeeper by the name of Sandy Jenkins. Sandy was reliable, but quiet, and not necessarily well-liked at his job. Everybody was like, Sandy's kind of like boring and not fun, but like his wife is really fun, but like he kind of sucks.
Okay.
Also, this banner on the website says 125 years in the baking.
Oh, cute.
That's cute.
I love
Good
Colin
pun.
Street Bakery.
So cute.
Bakery. Okay.
But he kept his head down, did his work, and here is an excerpt from the most amazing article ever written. It's like 20,000 pages long about just this case, and it's very flowery, and I love it. I get it, flowery.
Flowery.
And the article is titled "Just Desserts" by Katie Vine.
Yes.
Quote, 2004, Sandy had worked at the bakery for 6 years, or by 2004. He had proved himself a reliable employee, though he made, or I guess 6 years wouldn't be right, because he was hired in oh my God.
That's math.
Ow. Wow.
Ow.
I'm okay.
Ow.
Ow.
Oh, I got math.
Ooh, if I got mathed. He had proved himself a reliable employee, though he only made $50,000 a year. He was having
good
this
salary. It's a good salary in 2004.
I mean, it's okay.
It's fine.
But Sandy
right.
needed more.
Yeah, okay.
He was having to save money just to afford the upgraded Lexus he wanted. It all seemed so tedious. On most days, in the late morning, Sandy would kill time by glancing at the food coverage of the Dallas Morning News. But that day, in December 2004, wasn't like other days. Just before lunch, as he sat with the computerized checkbook program open in front of him, he began to daydream again. What if there were a quicker way to afford that Lexus? He stared at his computer screen, at the blank spaces on the checks. Didn't he deserve better?
Oh, no. Don't.
Butter.
Butter.
Don't embezzle, Sandy. Not from the fruitcakes.
Too late. So they longed for a life well beyond the meager $50K a year. Sandy's wife, Kay, did her best to spruce up their home on a budget, with particular attention paid to her beloved garden and entertaining guests with her excellent gourmet cooking. Her gardening was so stellar, she'd won Corsicana Yard of the Month many times.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
Sandy also liked the finer things, especially fashion. He'd won most fashionable in his senior yearbook, and yes, there is a photo on the drive.
Oh,
Yes.
And always liked to be dressed in the best suits. He'd never dreamed he looks like my dad in high
he
school.
really
Like
does.
the same glasses, like this kind of, I mean, my dad was a little more plump. God
And
bless
he's
him.
A little hair swoop.
Tiny
and he's-
little swirl of hair.
He's holding up like a very shiny
Like a
shirt.
leather shirt.
Yeah.
A leather shirt.
He's not wearing the leather shirt. He's just holding it excitably.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. He never dreamed of becoming an accountant. In fact, his dream as a child was to work as a funeral home director.
Yes.
But not for the reasons that Lucy dreamed of. A distant relative owned a funeral home in Hot Springs, Arkansas, and as a child, he had visited and he'd revel in the lavish interior decor.
Oh my God. So he liked a gaudy curtain.
He loved, yes, he like specifically remembers like touching the thick curtains and just like falling in love with the decor of this
How do
funeral
you know that's
home.
not the reason
He
I
loved
want
a
for it?
gold
Because I've known you for
tassel,
25 years.
thick
Yeah, exactly.
tassel.
It's
It's a
really
perk.
quiet. Everything's carpeted. mahogany, silk flowers.
Yeah.
You're not going to get a
I'm
lot
there.
of talk back from your coworkers.
Brass
'Cause they're dead.
adornments.
Got it.
Yes.
Skip the cheer
Yeah.
joke.
No sunlight. Yeah.
So his father
Did
discouraged
you hear
this
it?
dream, and he graduated college with a degree in business administration. When Sandy was hired by Colin Street Bakery, he was thrilled. This place was an institution and known the world over for selling, quote, the Cadillac of fruitcakes.
Oh my God, you're making me want to try a fruitcake, even though I know it's disgusting.
You know it's disgusting.
Yeah, it's the Cadillac of fruitcakes is still a fruitcake. He admired the McNuts for their business acumen and wanted to do well at his job, which he absolutely did. So again, from just desserts. Sandy helped the bakery transition from a manual accounting system to a computerized one, and by 2000, he had been promoted to corporate controller. Scott, his supervisor, was a fellow member of First Baptist who enjoyed Sandy's company and was pleased with the job Sandy was doing. Sandy was never late running the payroll, and he always kept the taxes current. Quote, the specific task you gave him got done and got done timely, Scott said. Sandy did it all without complaint. Only Kay, once in a while, would grumble about the bakery, telling Sandy and Scott that Bob McNutt doesn't pay y'all enough.
Oh, so Kay was Lady Macbeth.
Lady McNutt.
Yeah,
No.
she wanted that Lexus.
Yeah.
So
Hating
she was
McNutt.
turning the head.
They
Yeah.
both,
Oh,
they
yeah.
were in cahoots for sure on these dreams.
Wow. Also, you just can't trust a Lexus person. You really can't.
It's tough.
No,
My dad was a
there's always
Lexus
some
person for a while,
underlying-
though.
Sorry.
You can trust him. He's
Was
dead.
your dad this man?
No, I
Did your
wish.
dad fake his death to get out of this lawsuit?
I would be thrilled if that were the case. Sandy and Kay dreamed of being part of the Corsicana elite, members of the country club, drivers of a new Lexus, and they just weren't going to get there on $50K a year. So in December of 2004, Sandy hatched a plan that he felt was just, considering he was working what he saw as the equivalent of 3 jobs worth of work for one company and being paid peanuts.
Literally
Was Kay-
everyone is.
I know.
Was Kay
Welcome to
working?
capitalism. She was working
On her
until no, I don't remember exactly what she did, but also on her garden. But she did quit her job shortly after this began.
Oh, okay.
So 50K was not their household income.
No, but I don't think she made very much. I don't think she was like
satisfied.
right.
Okay.
It was not like $100,000 a year household by any stretch.
Okay.
So he dipped into the company's petty cash to fund Christmas that year. The anxiety was palpable. Every day he went to work thinking that would be the day his supervisor would burst into his office demanding to know where the funds had gone. But that burst never came.
That is so fucked up.
Uh-huh. And this emboldened Sandy. He started cooking the books, cutting himself fraudulent checks from the business.
Would you say
Gross.
baking the books?
Baking the books. Wine makes me burpy. And skimming off the top. Within a few weeks, he was driving to work in an upgraded Lexus. But it was still a used car, so as not to raise too much suspicion, but still a massive upgrade. This quiet man would roll to work blasting Barbara Streisand in his new Lexus. He
Okay,
was living
literally is your dad.
He was living my best life. And yes,
Yes.
he is my dad. Don't tell me not to laugh, just sit and butter.
Life's candy
Fruitcake and the sun's a ball of butter. Oh, God bless him. So here's how the scam worked. He would type out a check in the system for the amount he needed payable to whatever account he needed to pay off. So like his city card, for example. Quote, the software automatically signed the check, Bob McNutt. Sandy printed that check, but voided it in the system and then mailed it. Then, to cover his tracks, he typed the next check payable to a legitimate bakery vendor for the same amount, but never mailed that check. Once Sandy was sure that nobody had noticed the first fraudulent check, he tried it again, and again, and again.
So the numbers in their system would be correlated to legit vendors, but they weren't actually the ones being paid.
Well, yeah, they those vendors weren't getting any money because they weren't owed any money.
Correct.
It's genius.
Yep.
This is genius.
Well,
I'm shocked
I
you
mean,
got that.
it worked for a
Classic
while.
embezzlement.
Yeah, it's pretty classic. Each time Sandy would repeat the scheme, pairing his fraudulent check with one that appeared legitimate, someone would have to closely examine the checks to see any discrepancies, and that seemed unlikely, end quote, mostly because that's his job. is to closely examine the checks
And
for
when you work
discrepancies.
for a small, like, family-run business,
I mean, this wasn't all that small at this point, but he'd been working there for a while and doing a really good job.
It's
Yeah.
not a corporation.
Right,
It's,
right.
Whatever.
It's
and,
not Amazon.
Right. And then
Yeah.
you don't, you're the finances department.
Mhm. They're just
don't
going to
have,
trust
like,
you.
You don't have like an outside firm.
Listen,
examine
Bomar
it, like,
could be embezzling up the ass and
Right.
I wouldn't even know. I'd
We
be
would
like,
never know.
We would never know. But
You-
actually,
you got
honestly,
this.
she deserves it.
She deserves
I
it.
know.
I'm not
We'd
even
be
mad.
fine with it. Taken out of petty cash, which doesn't exist.
It's fine.
We don't have petty cash, but yeah.
But actually, so my mom worked for many, many years for a graphic design company, just like a small graphic design company. I think at their biggest, it was a couple who owned it. And then I think at their largest, they had like 3 employees. So a small business, whatever. She worked for them for many years. The bookkeeper before her embezzled like $30,000 from them.
Wow, that
Whoa.
sucks.
Over the course of like a couple years. And
They didn't notice. Did she find it?
no, somehow they found it before they hired my mom to
okay.
replace this woman. But they ended up spending more than she had stolen from them trying to prosecute her. And this bitch, actually, it all fucking circles back. This bitch used the money to open
A fruitcake bakery?
a coffee shop / bakery in Mound.
Rude.
a
Oh
while.
my God.
Well,
Mhm.
give us the details off air so we can.
I think
Right
eventually
back.
she was convicted, but
Bad
then, like,
reviews.
she never really paid up the full amount.
Well,
that
I
she
mean,
was
and
owed.
we'll kind of get to it, but like, even when embezzlement is super out of control, which we're about to get to, like, the actual like federal consequences are meh. So this went on for years, and Sandy and Kay were fucking living. This is a rundown of the shit they were paying for with embezzled cash from FBI.gov. And there's like so much more that's not listed here. But, quote, according to documents filed in the case and evidence proffered at the sentencing hearing, beginning at least as early as December 2004 and continuing until his termination from the bakery, which wasn't until like 2013. So we've been doing it almost
we did
10
it for
years.
a long time. Shit.
Dang.
Sandy Jenkins engaged in a massive scheme to defraud the bakery. During that time, he embezzled more than $16 million from the bakery.
No,
And
that's
he-
a lot of fruit.
It's a lot of fucking fruitcake.
Wow, that's a very successful business.
Right?
Jesus.
Yeah, that they didn't really notice until
I mean, we'll get to it.
How
but
much could
yeah,
a fruitcake cost, Michael?
$10.
$29.99.
Jeez.
But they're on sale from $32.99.
Ooh,
95, sorry.
got it. So he and his wife, Kay Jenkins, used that money to bankroll a lavish lifestyle. The government introduced evidence at sentencing identifying the 223 trips on private jets, as well as the locations of those trips, primarily Santa Fe, New Mexico, Aspen, Colorado, and Napa, California, but there were other places.
Oh, cool.
With a total cost that exceeded, for the trips alone, $3.3 million.
Holy fucking shit.
Well, chartering private jets is not cheap. The government also showed at sentencing that the Jenkins purchased 38 vehicles over the course of the scheme, so in like 9 years, including many
All Lexuses.
including many Lexus automobiles, a Mercedes-Benz, a Bentley, and a Porsche. According,
Jesus.
we'll get to it. We'll
You
get to
can't
it.
drive those to work.
We'll get to it.
Jesus.
According to evidence proffered at sentencing, Sandy Jenkins and Kay Jenkins purchased a new automobile every time they needed an oil change.
Some people just shouldn't be rich.
Or, yeah, I can't.
What
the government-
the
Like you're going to get away with this.
I wish I could just buy a new car every time I needed an oil change.
Right?
The government further established at sentencing that the Jenkins spent over $11 million on their Black American Express card alone and roughly $98,000 per month over the course of the scheme for a couple that had a legitimate income through the bakery of approximately $50,000 per year.
How did the IRS not nail them?
I mean, I think that process is slow, really. And when it's like cash was going directly from the bakery to these purchases.
Still.
Like it wasn't going through his
Were they
bank
living
accounts.
in their same little house?
I think so, yeah.
Because trying to get
And
like
just
a
going on a
different
bunch of
house,
trips.
more people would notice.
They bought a house in another, part of the country, like I think in California to vacation at, but they didn't upgrade like their house. So the evidence at sentencing also established that a significant portion of stolen funds, approximately $1.2 million is my favorite part, were spent at Neiman Marcus at North Park in Dallas, where Sandy Jenkins and Kay Jenkins had nicknames Fruitcake and Cupcake, respectively. So he was Fruitcake and she was Cupcake to the staff at Neiman Marcus. That's how often they went in.
I'm sorry, if someone just came up and called me Fruitcake.
Well, I mean, I'm sure they established a relationship knowing that he worked for this fruitcake company, and that's
he probably was like,
I get it.
I'm sure he fucking loved it. Yeah, the fruitcake king.
Not the bookkeeper
right.
for the fruitcake king, Bob McNutt.
The government
put some respect on his name.
Put some respect on his nuts. The government further proffered evidence at sentencing that the Jenkins stopped shopping at Neiman Marcus when Neiman's ran out of things to sell them.
I hate it when that happens.
If I had $1.
Oh my God.
I love it so much.
Weird.
It's absurd. It's absurd.
Why? Is there a movie about these
Actually,
people?
there is.
Yes.
I have to look up what it's called,
but
but there is a movie. I didn't include it, but there is one.
I'm going to Google it right
So
now.
he would lie to friends and coworkers about deals he got on his clothes or said they were from Walmart. LOL, okay. When that lie started to fall apart, Sandy and Kay told people that they had come into a bounty of money through a death in the family. And to explain away the different cars constantly, he told folks that he was, quote, a car trader. I get new cars and I'm able to flip them. I'm probably paying less than you are getting a new car every 5-6 months.
Oh my God.
That's not how cars work. Cars are a depreciating asset.
Yeah.
You can't flip a car.
Right.
First of all, Will Ferrell has something to do with this movie, and the movie is called Fruitcake.
Yes!
Oh,
okay, well, we need to watch that. He explained away the private jet rides by saying he had a wealthy cousin who was allowing him access to these luxuries.
Well, aren't you just a lucky little nut?
Yeah.
It's on Prime. It's on Prime.
Thank God, I'm watching it later. Meanwhile, Bob McNutt was scratching his butt over why the company wasn't making more money year after year as they consistently continued to grow their sales. So they're like, we should be turning a way bigger profit than this. What's going on?
You gotta have a rough idea of your company's own numbers.
Mm-hmm. Quote, it doesn't make sense, Scott Hayden would tell Bob. So I think Scott is the one who was the supervisor of Sandy and also worked in the accounting department. We're doing something wrong. They'd finish each fiscal year and say, it slipped through our hands again. Some years they could blame the economy like anybody else. Other years they had no excuse. They examined their expenses, labor, the price of ingredients, and even the inventory of ingredients as if somebody were stealing the cherries or pecans to make 1 million fruitcakes at home. And that could account for it.
Oh my God.
Obviously, that was not it. They audited the payroll. Nothing came of their efforts. But obviously, Sandy's probably helping them do
Yeah, he knows how to hide it.
Yeah, a lot of this searching. So Hayden said, quote, we did this over years trying to pinpoint what the problem was.
And then if it's the same, roughly the same stolen as the previous year, it's not a glaring difference.
Exactly. It's our losses were about the same X amount of years through.
Dang it, I'm wrong. Fruitcake is a different movie, but the one that's on Prime. But this one is also called Fruitcake.
Great.
It's in pre-production, and it stars Will Ferrell as Sandy and Julianne Moore as Kay.
Thank God. Oh, I'm so happy.
So it's not out yet.
Dreams,
oh my God, I'm so
true.
excited
We're going to have to clock that. We need to know. So it wasn't until 2013 when the bakery hired a new member of the accounting team that Sandy was finally busted.
I'm
so
sure
basically,
he was like, we don't need any more help.
No, we're good. Basically, they hired Elizabeth.
Yeah, my mom would have gotten to the bottom of that.
Yeah,
way up.
and I didn't see this woman's name in the articles that I looked at, so I'm just referring to her as Elizabeth.
Okay.
So she shows up in his office doorway one morning and says she is going over the books and she found a check made out to Capital One that didn't make sense. We don't have a Capital One account. Why is there a check just made out to Capital One? Sandy, there's a discrepancy with this check. Can you help me understand this? She asked. He starts to sweat. says he'll fix it, but she had a gut feeling that something was wrong. She waited for him to go off campus for lunch and then started digging into the system. And lo and behold, she found a pattern hiding in the voided check register. So she racked up enough evidence of Sandy's embezzlement to take to his supervisor, Scott, because she didn't want to go to Scott right away because, like, Scott and Sandy are friends and their families were spending a lot of time together. And she's brand new and she's a fucking woman. So, and all the way, finally she had enough evidence where she was like, Scott, this is not right. And then they took it up Bob's McNutt. So the next day, Sandy was fired and the FBI was contacted and confirmed what Sandy had been up to for almost 10 years. And there's a photo on the drive of the FBI just like at Sandy's door talking to him. I think it's labeled Sandy Busted.
Oh, look at his face. Look at his eyes. Look at his cargo shorts. Look at all their
Look at his hair.
Busted.
That's a nice house. That's a new house. They bought that house with the stolen money. That's
their
not
home is beautiful.
a year
I
house.
mean, it's also Texas.
Yeah.
Which
That's a gorgeous home.
Yeah.
Also, I can't get over his hair.
I know. He's a lot.
Straight across.
Well, it used to be curly and he would straighten it because he wanted to look like Bill Clinton. He like spent money having his hair relaxed so he could look like Bill Clinton. There are so many details I couldn't include because this was already really long.
I can't wait for this Will Ferrell movie.
This guy is fucking unbelievable. He's so over the top. I love him.
Oh my God.
So again, from FBI.gov, quote, based on the evidence as sentencing, the court determined that the total loss as a result of Sandy Jenkins' offense was $16,766,645.70.
Wow.
And most of that they can't get back because it was spent on vacations and cars.
Oh, we'll get to it. Through the
Private
efforts,
jet fuel.
Through the efforts of law enforcement in this case, the government recovered approximately $4 million in property and cash, like liquid assets. And they did an estate sale. There's another photo that I didn't include that was just like a line around the block of all of these people going to this fucking estate sale because it was also like talk of the town.
There.
I'd be tailgating that. I would have a tent.
8:30 a.m. to go
I'd be camping. I'd have a tent on the lawn.
Yeah.
It's like the newest Apple iPhone release.
Exactly. So they recovered that $4 million in property and cash that will be turned over to the bakery as partial restitution for the losses suffered in this case. That includes the following: 4 vehicles, including a 2005 Lexus SC, a 2010 Mercedes-Benz CL55 or 550, a 2013 GMC Yukon Denali, and
what color are they? I don't care.
No clue. And a 2013 BMW X53 having an approximate value of $150,000.
Damn.
532 luxury items, including 41 bracelets, 15 pairs of cufflinks, 21 pairs of earrings, 16 furs, 61 handbags, 45 necklaces, 9 sets of pearls, 55 rings, and 95 watches.
5 golden rings.
Having
Who needs that many watches?
I mean,
Who needs
98.
any of this crap? Don't you think you'd hit a wall?
Or sets of pearls.
That's a lot.
They all look the same.
So the value of the jewelry and stuff was about $3.5 million. They also had $580,754.90 in cash, a wine collection having an approximate value of $50,000, and a Steinway electric piano valued at $58,500.
Wow.
As a result of the turnover of the property, the court ordered restitution jointly and severally for Sandy and Kay Jenkins in the amount of $12,697,921.79 to be paid to the bakery over time. They're never going to be able to pay it.
No.
Sandy Jenkins was sentenced by U.S. District Court Judge Ed Kincaid to serve a total of 120 months in federal prison. Judge Kincaid sentenced Kay Jenkins to 5 years probation.
Kay got off easy.
She got off real easy. Mm-hmm. She was further ordered to complete 100 hours of community service and to submit a formal apology in writing to the bakery.
So basically, you need to have your spouse embezzle.
Yeah, and then spend it all on trips and stuff that you can't give back.
Right.
Yes.
Spend it on experiences.
Right.
Serve
like
your
a good
time.
Millennial.
Yeah, serve your time and then, don't embezzle again and retire quietly out of the limelight. There's your playbook right there.
That's how you pay for trips.
That's how you freaking do it.
Yep.
Wow.
Anyway, that is my case.
Wow, that's a good one.
Isn't it amazing?
Wow.
I
Loved it.
so much. I love Sandy.
I'm
People
so
are
excited
so
for this
fucking
movie.
Greedy.
I
I just can't get
know.
over it. I just feel
If he had just like gotten his shit together and
just-
kept it modest, he could have retired. No one would
Yeah.
fucking know.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they never
No one.
would have known.
Victimless crime.
But he got
Who's
greedy.
gonna know? There's
to
no
They
buy-
way.
got
to know.
fucking greedy. There's no way to
fucking
know. They're gonna
Change
know.
his car every time
They'll
he
never
needed an
know.
oil change.
Mm-hmm.
Go to Jiffy Lube.
Go to
That's
Jiffy
the
Lube.
most egregious part, I think.
know. It's absurd. It's too much. That's too much.
Wow.
But hire
Well,
Elizabeth if you need an accountant.
definitely. All right,
She would have
well-
found this in a
Oh,
heartbeat.
she would have found it first morning at the job. She would have been like,
1,000%.
this. She would have had the whole forensic accounting case built.
Yeah. Something does not smell right.
Oh my God. Well, thank you to our fan picker, Sasha Anderson. I promise
Yes.
you that we are using your donation funds much more wisely than the folks
I'm
in
still
Amanda's
driving a
case.
2016 Subaru.
I
so-
drive a Kia,
We're
and
good.
it does need an oil change.
Oh, get a new car. Toss her out.
Head to the dealership.
All right.
God. I
Thank
love
you
it.
so much.
See you next week.
Bye-bye.